Skip the intro. Let's get into it. Drake Maye has all the physical traits you want in a starting NFL quarterback. He's listed at 6'4", 230 pounds, which would put him in the 76th percentile for height and 77th percentile for weight. But even at this weight, he shows underrated athleticism. He's not Lamar Jackson or Caleb Williams by any means, but he has the athleticism to extend plays in the pocket or to pick up easy first downs when they're presented to him. His athleticism pairs well with very good pocket presence, which he uses to sidestep or step up and away from defenders consistently and avoid sacks. But by far his best physical trait is his arm strength. Maye has the arm strength to make any throw on the field, whether it be deep bombs, touch throws, or throws on a rope into a tight window. He can chuck the ball deep downfield without having his feet underneath him and even off his back foot easily. He also shows the consistent ability to throw accurately when rolling out to his sides. Why this becomes so important when it comes to Maye is because he's able to combine his athleticism and arm strength together cohesively. He shows the ability to consistently evade defenders and chuck the ball downfield without having to reset his feet like a quarterback with lesser arm strength may have to. It allows him to hit open windows as he sees them come open, rather than releasing the ball and risk having the window close as he's trying to get his feet set. It also allows him to flash true game-changing ability with some ridiculous throws off his back foot or while off balance that no other quarterback would even think of attempting. Seriously, look at this play. He extends the play by evading defenders to buy time for his receivers. He throws off his back foot while jumping and throws across his body, delivering a perfect dime to the wide receiver, over the first defender's head, and away from the second defender's reach. That is nuts. But he's not just one of these big arm quarterbacks who struggles with accuracy, as I'd say his accuracy is one of his greatest strengths. Maye's 77.7 adjusted completion percentage is 11th of 80 qualifying quarterbacks. On intermediate throws, Maye's 67.6 adjusted completion percentage is 17th in the nation, and on short throws, his 86.8% adjusted completion percentage is 6th. These numbers are impressive and show how he can be deadly accurate, but wait till you hear how good he is as a deep passer. On throws over 20 plus yards, Maye is 36 for 70, with 1,323 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Although this may seem like a low completion percentage, his adjusted completion percentage on these throws of 58.6% is second in the nation, and he's tied for first most deep completions on the 6th most deep attempts. On deep throws, Maye has a passer rating of 118.8, which is 10th. He consistently shows the ability to place the ball exactly where he wants. But let's dive into the film a little bit more to talk about his intangibles. First, we'll discuss Maye's ability to throw with anticipation, which is one of the most important skills for a quarterback. He consistently shows the ability to throw with anticipation. For example, on this route, Maye looks over to his first read and is quick and decisive, already beginning his windup before the wide receiver is out of his break and delivering a perfect sideline ball, which would be dropped. On this next one, Maye again is into his windup while the wide receiver still has his back turned to the quarterback. When throwing this ball, he's accounting for the position of both of these defenders and throws low and away to the wide receiver so he can catch it while working back to the quarterback. Let me repeat that. He's throwing the ball in a spot where he expects the wide receiver to be before the wide receiver is out of his break. That's just the definition of great anticipation. But let's next talk ball placement. This doesn't really mean accuracy, but instead refers to the more precise placement of a ball for a specific reason. For example, you may want to lead a receiver in a specific direction to create more yards after catch, or you may want to put it in a certain spot so a defender can't reach it. This is different than accuracy because accuracy is really more your ability to get it to a general area where the wide receiver can catch it, which we've already discussed Maye is very good at. So it's not really a surprise that he also shows consistently great ball placement too. For example, this play is pretty nuts. It's just a slant, right? But this is probably one of the more beautiful slants I've ever seen. Look how Maye delivers this perfectly to the outside shoulder of the wide receiver. He just absolutely fires this one in there and it's in the perfect spot. This next one is subtle, but we like when players do the small things here. Maye sees the linebacker start to cover the flat and he shows great anticipation throwing the ball before the linebacker has even cleared that spot. But the ball placement is also awesome here because he puts it right on the wide receiver's right shoulder, which essentially allows the wide receiver to catch it and burst off his back foot upfield in between the defenders. Of course, the wide receiver drops it, but you get the idea. Also, look at Maye's eyes here. He makes this literal perfect throw with anticipation while staring down the linebacker to hold him in place. That is NFL stuff right there. This one's also fun. Maye is under pressure within a half second of snapping the ball, but he quickly drops back, sticks his foot in the ground, and throws a strike to the receiver's back shoulder. Why? Because the fucking ref is in the way of a wide open receiver. Look at this nonsense. He's literally leading the wide receiver away from the ref while under pressure and moving the launch point to his right to buy himself an extra second to complete the throw, so the free rusher isn't in his way. His mix of ball placement and accuracy has led to a 91.9 passing grade by PFF, which ranks second highest, and an 8.0 big time throw rate, which is 5th in the nation. Another thing that is really impressive about Maye is his play under pressure. Because his mechanics are already a bit odd, which we'll talk about in a bit, he really isn't bothered by tight pockets. Here, Maye delivers this comeback with the defender's hand right in his face. And here, Maye again shows the ability to deliver a perfect ball with the defender in his face, absolutely lasering this throw down the seam with a defender barreling towards him. On this next one, Maye by no means delivers a perfect ball, but this is a great example from my film study of him that shows his willingness to stand in the pocket and deliver, even when he knows he's going to get hit. Naturally, the wide receiver drops it, making it all for naught. Up until now, I've been trying a little bit to isolate some of his best qualities in each video on the screen so you can get a good idea of his strengths. But let's look at a few hand-picked plays where I think he does an excellent job combining most or all of his strengths. On this one, Maye looks off the safety and delivers a strike downfield with a defender barreling towards him. On this one, Maye delivers a perfect dime where only his wide receiver can get it. His wide receiver apparently didn't like that and chose to drop it instead. Here, Maye delivers yet another dime in stride to the wide receiver, almost 60 yards down the field. And this next one is just hysterical and doesn't really need any commentary. But finally, we get to Maye's biggest strength. He can punt! Seriously, look at that. Pretty sick, right? But we can't be all flowers and rainbows. Let's talk weaknesses. The first thing that is immediately apparent to me is how atrocious his footwork can be at times. He often is playing on his toes rather than playing from a good base, which should, in theory, affect how consistently accurate he is. He makes up for the lack of leg drive with his arm strength, but there are definitely times you'll see him spray the ball because of unrefined or sloppy footwork. A lot of the time he's kind of hopping around, and even with both feet at once. I'm honestly surprised it doesn't affect his accuracy more, but you definitely see deficiencies in his footwork pretty often. Another reason why this is an issue is because in the NFL, timing is even more important than it is in college. For example, look at my most recent CJ Stroud video. Having your quarterback hit the top of his drop and be able to sync up his release with the wide receiver's break can be absolutely unstoppable at times. If you have sloppy footwork or bad timing, it doesn't just affect your own ability, but it threatens the efficacy of the offense as a whole, since the whole design of the play may depend on the quarterback's ability to time the drop back. Another thing that he does pretty often is take an extra hitch step or pat the ball for no reason, which can make him late on throws. For example, Patrick Bateman over here is wasting an extra second to throw the ball by patting it, which makes this play closer to the sideline than it needs to be. Then we got Pat Sajak back at it again, patting the ball when he could just up and release. And just so you know I'm not lying, here's Patrick Warburton back at it again. In the same vein as some of his footwork problems, he has a very severe problem with drifting towards the wide receiver he's looking to throw to. This has the effect of 1, moving him further away from other receivers if he wants to throw to them, and 2, tipping off the defense to who he intends to throw to. Oh yeah, it also has the third and most important effect of walking directly into pressure and making throws more difficult for himself. This bears out in advanced statistics as well, as PFF has Maye charted as being at fault for 29.2% of the pressure that he faces as a whole. This is the second highest percent of the 54 qualifying quarterbacks. But let's do a bullshit check and look at the film. As he takes the snap, he's already walking towards his wide receiver, and because of the angle he's dropping back, he has to delay his throw to avoid the defender knocking the ball down, and he's almost purposefully putting himself in a tighter situation to throw the ball. To his credit, he gets it where it needs to go, and it's complete. But look how much separation there is on the original throw attempt compared to where he actually gets to throw it. This gives the DB a better chance at making the play, and the margins are a lot slimmer at the NFL level. Here's another one. He takes the snap and immediately moves towards the wide receiver he wants and right into this defender who almost knocks down the throw again. It's incredibly impressive that he completes this with the defender in his face, but the margins are slimmer at the NFL. Here's another one. You can just see he's basically walking into the defender here. I'd like to point out that there's a difference between moving the launch point and / dropping at an angle, which are good things, and instances like this, where you're basically drifting into a defender. My only problem with calling this a huge weakness is I'm not sure if it's just coached on these particular plays or he's just doing it subconsciously. The next play is the one that makes me think it's subconscious, but I'm not going to claim to know everything. Here he's just doing a straight drop back originally, but look at this. He slightly drifts his body towards the wide receiver as he's in the process of the throw, and the throw looks to be off by literally the exact same amount that he shifted his body over. And for good measure, this is a different play, same throw, where he does the exact same thing. But let's address other parts of his game outside of his mechanics. The first thing I want to talk about is how often he bails from clean pockets. He's not Kenny Pickett or anything, but he does it more than you'd like to see. On this again, you see him dropping back. He's looking to his right, and as we talked about, drifting to his right because that's where his wide receiver is. Now here he breaks from a completely clean pocket. There's some stuff that you like to see here, like he's got an eternal clock knowing that he's got to get rid of the ball, and he's scanning the field. But this pocket is still clean. If instead of taking off running, He's prepared to throw and works his way to his left. You can see the left wide receiver coming open down the sideline, but he's not ready to throw and he's on the move. He does ultimately complete this pass, but it could have been a bigger play. Here again, he's dropping back, looking right, and drifting right. At the moment he drops his ball to run, this pocket is clean. Perhaps he's worried about 63 getting bull rushed into his lap, but that's not what happens, and what he winds up doing is literally running right into a sack. Here we start off nice and see him looking through his progressions. He can't find anyone, and again, he just runs himself into pressure and into a sack. What I really like to see from quarterback prospects is an ability to run to evade defenders, but not to act like that's the last opportunity to throw. It's really nice to see a quarterback move in the pocket and then reset themselves and deliver the throw. To Maye's credit, if he's on the run out to his sides, he'll generally keep his eyes up and be looking to throw while running. However, I don't often see him evade defenders in the pocket or step up in the pocket and reset himself to throw the ball. For example, on this play, he's got some early pressure, but he's way too quick to completely ditch the play. He had a big opportunity to just step up in the pocket, reset himself, and deliver this ball on a line down the sideline. He gets a few yards out of it, but you want to convert your opportunities and not trash them too early. Next one, he does not need to completely bail from the pocket. If he can reset himself and throw, he has a couple opportunities on this play that he wound up missing. I'd personally like to see him just step up and float this in over the corner. I'll admit he probably broke out of the pocket because he saw this guy coming loose off the block and the other two behind him, but I'm 99% sure he could have taken 2 steps up and made this throw, given some of the other throws that he's made on his tape. Something that bothers me a bit about Maye too is that he can be very indecisive, overly conservative, or just plain late on reads at times. At the next level, opportunities are few and far between, and the windows to make those opportunities are much shorter. If you see an opportunity, you need to pull the trigger. This is an NFL throw opportunity. This needs to be released here. He's looking right at him. Reading the leverage of the defender, you know that the wide receiver is streaking past him, and he just has to lay it up there. But Maye, for whatever reason, doesn't pull the trigger and takes a sack instead. Next, this absolutely needs to be thrown here unless it's a design pump fake, which seems to be the case. So let's assume that this is a design pump fake. You still have the man. The ball is still in your hands and you're still in the pocket. He's looking at the wide receiver and he can throw it right now. But instead, he starts running for no reason and gets like 4 yards instead of a potential touchdown. We can see from this angle he's looking right at the receiver and he's tons of space in the pocket. He can deliver this ball and has delivered this ball, but he just doesn't pull the trigger here for some reason. On this one, Maye sees that he clearly has the honey hole shot and even starts to time his throw perfectly, but he pulls the ball back down and refuses to throw. I'm not going to sit here, well, I'm actually standing, and pretend that this is an easy throw, because it's not. But it's the type of throw NFL quarterbacks make, especially high-level ones. Here's an example. Why does this clip look like it's from the 1950s when it's literally Cam Newton throwing to Steve Smith? I have no fucking idea. But I shit you not, I looked for over an hour to find a short clip of all 22 of someone hitting a honey hole shot. That's not to say that they don't happen, because they happen all the time. I just can't afford a subscription to those services that chart out the plays. If you look at one of the 3 pixels on this play, you could see that it's very similar. It's thrown and it's completed. But back to Maye. He's hesitant to pull the trigger on this one and checks it down instead. Yet another one. He sees the wide receiver start to open back to him, and he starts to throw, but he pulls the ball back down. Perhaps he doesn't trust his ability to layer this over the defender, but these are the throws that NFL quarterbacks do make and will have to make. Short one here, he's made this play before, as we saw earlier in the video, but this time he just pulls the ball down, despite the wide receiver being wide open. His failure to throw here leads to a sack. In terms of wrapping up the weaknesses section, I'd like to throw in a few other notes from what I've watched. He can definitely stare down receivers at times, and I'd also like to see him attempt some layered throws over the middle of the field between the linebackers and safeties more often, as I haven't seen many of these types of throws. Otherwise, let's move to the player comparison and wrap this bad boy up.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
In terms of an NFL player comparison, Justin Herbert is just too easy. Herbert and Maye are of a similar size and both have underrated athleticism that allows them to avoid pressure and pick up easy first downs with their legs, but it won't make them an elite threat on the ground. Both of them have that kind of silent leader type of vibe to them, but they don't appear to be particularly fiery or outspoken, but rather lead from a confidence that can be felt by the whole team. Both of them are great vertical passers who sometimes suffer from mechanical issues that can cause them to spray wildly off target at times. They both also have insane arm strength, but can show hesitancy to use that arm strength at times and would rather be a bit conservative. Also, they both wear number 10, so there's that. Alright everyone, I really hope you enjoyed and I appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscription as it really helps out the channel. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Also let me know if you had a take coming into this video. Has it changed? Have you learned anything new? Or do you still think the same things? Do you think I'm an idiot? Let me know. Lastly, is there any other prospect you'd like to see a film breakdown of? I'm super excited to see what you guys think. Also, quick side note, I have a second channel where I'm going to be posting all of the high quality clips that I use when I'm not showing film. You guys likely don't recognize this, but if there isn't a good high quality clips for edits video of a player, I have to sift through hours and hours and hours of footage taking out tiny clips of a certain player and then edit them all together just to slightly raise the production quality of my video. I decided I'd like to help out other content creators in the football space, and I'll be posting all these high quality clips for the players I compile on my second channel, which is literally just called High Quality Clips for Edits. There's already some videos up there with copyright free music and no logo to get in the way, so feel free to look at the clips and use them in your edits. If it's not too much, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe there as well. Alright, I'm finally done talking here in front of this microphone, but I know we'll be talking below. So for now, I'ma say later.